Hello everyone. So today this is going to be Solo Altars of Sorrow 2026 edition. It's going to be very similar to the one I did back during Revenant. So, first of all, in order to ensure you're in a solo instance, probably going to want to change the date and time on your console, or on PC you might want to use something like a solo script. And all that does is change firewall permissions so that nobody else can join you. Not in a public instance, not in matchmaking, nothing. For the build, I like to have a Riptide with Chill Clip. It's not necessary, but it does help sometimes if you can't get a blind off. My personal favorite SMG for this is a Noctis Vetiver, 600 RPM with attrition orbs and jolting feedback, but any attrition jolting SMG will do. Then the most important part, Crown of Tempest. This helmet is absurdly powerful. So, looking at Dim here, what it actually does is, while you have at least one arc ability equipped, arc ability and jolt kills grant a stack of conduction times for 10 seconds, maximum of 3 stacks. There is a very, very short cooldown for acquiring stacks, but in practice you probably won't notice it. Each stack grants the following: 167.5% additional base grenade, melee, and super regeneration rate. At 3 stacks, that's 502.5%. Jeez. And for Storm Train specifically, you get 66% decreased passive super drain. Casting Ionic Sentry spawns a Storm Grenade on the point of impact. It is quite the helmet. So, for the heavy weapon, I choose Thunderlord because it stacks up Bolt Charge a lot, and it jolts sometimes when it feels like it. Obviously, we're going with Stormcaller here, and Storm Trains is the super we're going to be using. I've done Chaos Reach a good bit. It has better burst damage, but the sustained is far superior with Storm Trains because of that passive cooldown, or passive ability drain resistance using the helmet. Healing Rift is going to be mandatory. Glide, take your pick. I like Strafe Glide because I can do a complete 180 in midair. Chain Lightning is going to be the melee of choice because it jolts. Pulse Grenade. This is going to be the absolute best grenade here. It outdoes every other grenade by a good margin when it comes to single target damage. Then for aspects, we want Ionic Sentry, so that we can stack up conduction times while we're not even at an altar. Now at tier 5, we get all 3 altars up at the same time. You can just throw an Ionic Sentry to mid and focus on left or right. Arc Soul. This thing has some good passive damage. It is, in practice, better than Electrostatic Mind and Lightning Surge. Even if in theory, Lightning Surge should be able to output more. Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to generate an Ionic Trace. Collecting an Ionic Trace grants a stack of Bolt Charge. This is good for continuous damage, because having a lot of Ionic Traces on the ground, building up all that Bolt Charge, and then discharging it all onto a Nightmare is going to help a lot with those higher tier Nightmares, because they have a lot of health. Spark of Shock. Arc Grenade jolts targets. This is very important. It allows your Arc Grenade to get kills way outside of its radius. Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with Bolt Charge creates an Ionic Trace. This is going to be very helpful for continuous Bolt Charge stacks. Spark of Magnitude. Your lingering grenades have extended duration. You probably could go with something else. There's probably multiple, in theory, better options, but this is my personal favorite. I guess Critically Wounded and After Sprint, these two could be pretty good as well. But my personal favorite again, Spark of Magnitude here. Now, for the stat distribution, I do like to have some health, as getting an Orb of Power and allowing you to get stepped up back to full health is pretty powerful. Melee, Grenade, Super, and Class all need to be as close to 100 as you can get, preferably with the Luminipotent 4-piece bonus. Final blows against Jolt or with Jolt or against jolted combatants create ionic traces. This is very, very nice. Now, the way I have it set up here, I've got a grenade font, health font, and class font built up, because I forgot to redo the rest of this armor to add on the rest of the fonts. Not that it's necessary, but the grenade, health, and class font will push these beyond 100, and allow for some extra grenade damage, some extra health per orb pickup, and a little bit of overshield when you cast your class ability. I did want to put on a melee font to get a bit of bonus melee damage, but unfortunately I just don't have the energy on the bond for it. Firepower is very helpful to allow you to get some more orbs of power to keep these fonts rolling. If instead of power preservation, you could go super font to allow for a little bit additional super damage, which is what I normally do if I'm playing solo. For these resistances, you can do whatever you want, but at altars it's best for an arc and a void, because those ogres and wizards do hurt. Better Already, Harmonic Holster, and Absolution are going to be the best for the legs. You might think, oh, why not run with an Arc Weapon Surge? Trust me, you won't need it. Better Already to start health regeneration on picking up an orb, Harmonic Holster to reload Thunderlord while you don't have it out, and Absolution to give a bit extra ability energy. For the class item, Powerful Attraction to pick up nearby orbs of power. Very important. Time Dilation so that your armor charge lasts longer. And like I said earlier, a class font. So, then for the artifact. I've seen a lot of people say that you should be running Tablet of Ruin, and generally speaking, they're not wrong. Tablet of Ruin is an excellent artifact. However, with what we're doing, it just doesn't make the cut. So, this first one here is up to you. I just do Rapid Weapon Final Blows, grant a bonus to mobility with Killing Breeze, but there's really nothing else I could put there. The thick of it, Rapid Final Blows while you're surrounded grant armor charge. While you're surrounded, your weapons have increased handling, swords gained increased charge rate. Pretty good. I love having it. Trace Evidence, Rapid Precision Hits or Rapid Final Blows on targets affected by Jolt or Blind will generate ionic traces. Picking one up grants a stack of armor charge. Very nice. You do want to have this. Retinal Burn, Rapid Arc Weapon Precision Hits consume an armor charge to trigger a blinding burst. Also necessary. You need that. Curative Orbs, the first time you break a target's shield or break the shield of a guardian using your super, you create an orb of power. That part isn't really the necessary part. It's the second part here, collecting an elemental pickup, or an orb of power, or destroying a tangle grants you a small amount of health. That's the important part. It is very helpful if you're suddenly taking a lot of damage. Arc Compounding, hence why we needed all these other ones up here. Arc sources deal increased damage to blind targets. You want to stack up armor charge quickly so that you can get those font mods working, and so that when you do rapid precision hits, you blind the target, and deal more damage. Conductive Cosmic Crystals. I like this one with Riptide because it has Chill Clip. The Arc and Void abilities deal bonus damage to targets affected by a stasis debuff. Just whip out Riptide, slow your target, throw your pulse grenade, watch them die. Now I have noticed that sometimes Arc Compounding and Conductive Cosmic Crystals don't work together well. It doesn't seem to be a consistent thing. Sometimes it does more, sometimes it doesn't. But let's get on to actually soloing Altars of Sorrow. That's the build. So all I have to do now is sit back, watch, and enjoy as I solo Altars in 2026. I almost forgot to mention that while you have Ionic Sentry primed, your grenade does not receive the massively improved regeneration rate. So be sure to throw your Ionic Sentry every chance you get. folks, and there you have it. Solo Altars of Sorrow in 2026. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.